Hi, this is Kelly, but all the kids and grandkids call me Gigi. I love being on the farm, especially when the grandkids are around. Our favorite job to do together is to bottle feed our calves and orphans if we have them. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Around the Supper Table. It all began in grade school when I'd go to school the first day with my 8 crayon pack and my cigar box. Yes, I'm that old. Along with my big fat pencil and my big chief tablet. Many other kids would have 32 and 64 crayon packs. I gleefully traded my classmates out of all the cool colors. My simple 8-pack was missing. By junior high and high school, I looked forward to the day the promotional people would ask the students to sell something in order to raise money for the school. It was permission to go sell all I wanted and earn some dinky prize. There were water conditioners to sell door to door in college, then cars and farm commodities later in life. I've been a salesman my entire life because I felt empowered by it. I've sold people on everything, including what my unverified facts are correct. I don't think about it or plan it. It's my go-to conversation to sell my version of the truth, whether it's correct or not. I use it to portray a self-assured persona while trying to stay safe in the deep recesses of my mind. God has shown me how I use this to manipulate and control those closest to me. He's been showing me layer by layer how corrupt and distracting from God this is in my life. I'm struggling to stop it, but I'll admit I fail more than I succeed. Instead of giving and sharing God's story and His love, I'm always selling my story to prove my superiority or worth. Those around me can't receive help or even a listening heart if I'm plotting the next hustle in my mind. This is how God explained it to me. The act of selling is a taking process. In order to get a sale, I must take someone's attention and interest so that they buy what I'm selling. Ministry is freely giving to someone else. These are two very different philosophies. One hurts and strips away from people. The other strengthens and encourages people. The former sucks life from those around me. It breaks trust and takes away from all the pursuit of purpose. If I can't sell my polished presentation, I'm scared. I'm in the moment and not prepared. I'm vulnerable, and I act out of fear by doubling down on my agenda instead of leaning on Christ. Paul describes it better than I can in Romans 7:14 through 18. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. For that which I do, I allow not. But what I would, that do I do not. But what I hate, that do I. If then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good. Now then it's no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not. Paul isn't giving an excuse. He's recognizing that when I do what I know not to do, I'm allowing my flesh to be in control, even if it inflicts pain on my family. So I had to ask myself why I felt the need to sell. Why could I not just trust God and let Him lead me? There are two things I've come to see. I've never internalized God's love for me, and I've never really felt that He could or would choose to love me. The other thing God has shown me is that I never felt that there was anybody that would protect me and keep me safe. Therefore, I've never trusted anyone but me. Something Mike said in a recent sermon has really stuck with me and helped me understand what I'm doing. He said, "You'll give God everything but that piece of your old man that you feel can destroy you if separated from it. I can give God the little things, but I can't trust Him to love me and keep me safe." It's been a long, slow process of me being able to see this side of myself. I would love to write a pretty paper saying that I've overcome my flesh, and I'm looking at it in the rearview mirror. I will probably never be there. The struggle will make me stronger, though. Romans 8:6 through 8 reminds me that I'll always war against the carnally minded person in me while on earth. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God. For it's not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. so they that are in the flesh cannot please God. What specific steps am I taking to change? I'm choosing to talk less so that I can listen more. I need to listen to hear, not just take in the words. I'm giving suggestions, not forcing my opinion on others. It helps when I realize that my thoughts and ideas are just my opinions, not facts. I look for opportunities to bless, encourage, and pray for others. This gets the focus off of me and allows me to be a conduit for Christ's love. I also make a conscious effort to praise and thank God continually throughout the day. For me, this starts with the everyday things like being thankful for my family. Honestly, I don't understand all the depths of this, but I know that the best remedy is to focus on others and on God. I want to earn the opportunity to hear God say, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant," when it's time for me to leave this earth. Matthew 25:21.
Hey Gigi, I like that blog. I think you really touch on some things that are pretty important, especially to the younger generation, because the things you talk about, I think they, at the end of the day, to me, they boil down to this: who am I and what am I going to be? What am I going to do? I've got to be this, I've got to be that, instead of what does God want me to be and who am I in God? And there's this really cool song I heard the other day, and it's called "I Want to Be the Moon." And throughout the entire song, he talks about, like, there's the sun and the moon, and both shine, but the moon is a reflection of the sun, and the sun is like God. And so when we're shining, we still get to shine like God does, but it's that reflection from Him. So when people look at us, they don't see just our light, they see the light of God. And my question is, how do you catch yourself when you're getting into that mode of, I've got to be this, I've got to be that? Because I know for me, like, when I do things, I can look back and be like, well, crap, I shouldn't have done that. So how do you either catch it in the moment or before it? What is your advice for that?
I have to pray a lot and tell God, I want to be convicted. I want you to draw my attention to it. Sometimes I'm aware when I'm doing it. I'm like, oh, shoot, I just did it again. Sometimes it's later that day. I'm trying to learn to reflect on the day and go, did I do that? Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's a day or two later, and I'll just be praying, and God will be like, remember when you said this the other day? And I'm like, I didn't even catch it. And like I say, it's days later, and it's a new process for me, and I'm way too old to be at this place, but that's where I am.
Yeah, I think everything is a process, especially when you're first starting out and kind of figuring that out. Because, I mean, I'm young, and for me, it's like I don't quite have all the bad habits, but the bad habits I have, they're really hard to break, and even being young. But I guess, like, is there anything that you do to, I don't know, come back and make up for those mistakes you make? Any advice on that?
Sometimes I go back to that person and apologize. If I can catch it then, I try to apologize right then. Sometimes coming back later, I'm just like, okay, they've probably even forgotten it. So sometimes I just tell God, I'm really sorry. If you want me to go to that person, I will happily go. I had thought that saying I'm sorry would help. It seems like I still have to do it an awful lot. Mm-hmm. And it's just been 64 years of doing things the wrong way and trying to learn to do them God's way instead of my way.
Yeah. I think that's a huge thing, doing things God's way versus our way, because I can think of so many times where things ended up not being the way that I wanted, and it was God pulling at the bit, dragging me in the other direction, me screaming, no, God, don't make me go, and He took me, and they always ended up being better than whatever I had planned. So I think that's a really great thing. I think I definitely see you changing and you making the progress that you need to make. So I think this is a great step in the right direction, Gigi.
One of the things I just realized is when I was writing this, I was like, what's the purpose in writing this? And two things. One, I've finally seen what it does to other people, and especially my girls, having lived with me until they were adults. I've seen them have to deal with having had to be raised by me,
right.
and that really, really hurts. And then knowing that I hurt people around me, so I don't want to keep hurting others. And then I'm like, I know there are other people that have something in their life they won't let go of, and that's the barrier between them and God. Mm-hmm. So one of you ask me, what have I done? I try every day to pray and to think about this all during the day, going, this isn't my life. I'm not living it for me. Nothing I'm doing is for me. It's to show God in everything that I do, and everything I do is for purpose. I'm not just doing random things, and I pretty well spent my whole life doing random things, and I'm trying to go, if there's purpose, I will do it, and if not, I don't want to do it. And that's helped me to think of every day being a day that I'm serving God and I'm representing Him in every one of my actions.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great point, Gigi. Gigi, I liked your blog. Thank you.
Thank you, Mac.
Hey y'all, thanks for joining us for Around the Supper Table. At Sanctuary Family Farms, we want to be real. Whether that's through our blogs, daily verses, or even Nana's recipes, we want to share the messages that God has laid on each of our hearts. If you liked what you heard today or want to get in touch with us, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Sanctuary Family Farms or our website at www.sanctuaryfamilyfarms.com, where we share our recipes and blogs and sell farm fresh beef and pork. We can't wait for you to join us again for next week's episode.